Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And can I say, when I got the brief from my department in relation to this event, can I tell you, this was not what I envisaged. But this is absolutely fabulous to be amongst so many people tonight who are passionate about small and family business in Australia. Can I also, though, commence by thanking PwC for hosting us tonight. I never underestimate the generosity of firms like yourself in providing us with these facilities. Can I also, though, say a huge thank you to Dinesh for everything that you and Netstripes are doing for small and family business, but in particular, ensuring that they understand the benefits of digital capability, but on top of that, ensuring that they're able to take that next step and embrace opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, before the election, I had the opportunity to go to an address by someone by the name of Ron Nearing. Many of you may have heard of him. He's a Republican, 30 years in the Republican movement. In 2016, he ran Ted Cruz's campaign. He also understands the value of digitisation and social media. And I'll never forget, he's commenced his speech doing very similar to what I'm doing at the moment. He just walked around the room doing this. None of us could quite work out why he was waving his mobile phone at us. But then it became apparent. As he said, this is now it. This is it. This is your life. He was talking about it in the political context of how we would be able to get into the homes of millions and millions and millions of Australians. This is it. And it is the same for you in this room. As Dinesh so eloquently put it, and as Sonia has so eloquently put it in her introduction, unless as a small and family business you are embracing the digital opportunities, you actually won't make it into everybody's home, and that will be a barrier to you doing business. In the first instance though, can I just say, I just love my portfolio because I get to meet with the most amazing people doing the most amazing things around Australia. As a government, we do tell you, you are the backbone of the Australian community. But let me tell you why. Depending on the definition of small and family business that you use, for taxation purposes, we use 50 million and below in turnover. There are actually 3.4 million small and family businesses across Australia. Do you know how many Australians you collectively employ? Does anybody know? 6 million. 6 million and growing. So when I look at that, and I look at the statement from your government, you are the backbone of the Australian economy, I then say to myself, and Sonia, where's Sonia gone? Oh, there you are. There you are. Thank you for reading out my maiden speech, and in particular, the deregulation aspect. I'm a conservative. I hate regulation. I really do. Regulation is red tape. It is a barrier to doing business. And I am a firm believer that the last thing you need from your government is to put in place more regulation. Governments don't create jobs. Any minister who stands in front of you and says, by the way, the government has just created X amount of jobs, is admitting that they've just increased the size of the public service. You are the job creators of this country. What I do as part of your government is put in place the policy framework in which you can either prosper, grow and create more jobs for Australians, which is exactly what we as your government want you to do, or. We don't like the or. We like the policy framework that enables you to prosper and grow. As a government, we've made a commitment that we will put in place the right economic framework that will see businesses in this room create an additional 1.25 million jobs over the next 5 years. Since we were elected to office in 2013, you have collectively created for Australians an additional 1.5 million jobs. We also want to put in place the policy framework that will see an additional 250,000 small and family businesses created. And I believe we're doing that. And the embracing, Dinesh, of the digital capability is a fundamental part of that policy platform. There are just two other policies I do want to touch on though, because on the front page of this Bizruption book in front of you, it talks about growth. When I came into the portfolio last year, one of the issues that was raised with me every other day of the week was access to finance. We want small businesses to prosper, grow and create more jobs for Australians. But if you cannot get access to finance, I'm not quite sure how you're meant to take that next step. Lending is very difficult in Australia, as we know. So I'm delighted to say that 12 months ago, actually not 12 months ago, it was only about 8 or 9 months ago now, we actually announced the creation of a $2 billion securitisation fund. The securitisation fund is set up to stimulate the smaller lending market in Australia. The Australian government will put up the $2 billion. We've been working on this now for some time and it will commence shortly. There'll be an announcement. We've put up an initial $250 million to the Australian Financial Management Authority, who will manage the money on behalf of the government. And it will provide that money to smaller lenders who will then be able to provide small and family business in Australia with access to the finance they so desperately need, but at a far more competitive rate. That is actually a structural change to the Australian economy because we do not have a large small lending market in Australia. And this is something that I think, once up and running, which will be shortly, will really give small businesses that opportunity to take that next step. The other policy, though, I'd like to raise with you, because again, it's been raised with me every other day since I came into the portfolio, is cash flow. Without a doubt, cash flow is king for small and family business. On any day, any given day in Australia, do you know how much money is actually outstanding to small and family businesses? Have a guess. How much do you think?
Billions.
Yeah, 7 billion. That is exactly right. $7 billion. People talk about an economic stimulus. Wow. How about actually paying your invoice on time? That's a really good start. But as a government, I believe that we need to lead by example. As of the 1st of July this year, any non-Commonwealth entity doing business with us has to pay, or we will pay their invoices within 20 days or less. We've got it on the COAG agenda and the states and territories have agreed to do the same. But you see, this is where Bizruption and what you're talking about tonight becomes even more relevant. E-invoicing. Who here utilises e-invoicing? Okay, this is the benefit of e-invoicing. If you are doing business with the government and you are utilising e-invoicing, we will be able to pay your invoice in 5 days or less. And all of the states and territories have agreed to do the same thing. But if you're not embracing the opportunities of the digital world, you may not know about e-invoicing. You may therefore not want to do business with government. Or if you are doing business with government, you may not know about being paid in 5 days or less. There are so many opportunities open to businesses who are prepared to take that next step. But I can assure you, as the Minister, I do not stand here and presume it's easy. Because if it was easy, we wouldn't be at Bizruption tonight, would we? We'd all be out there doing it and embracing opportunity. It's actually really difficult as a smaller family business who's never had to utilise technology before, who doesn't know about the benefits of the online world, to actually take that next step. I'm a big believer, though, that government does need to empower, and in particular in relation to the digital space. When I came into the portfolio last year, I travelled around Australia and I talked to so many different small businesses, and I said, if government was to put in place a program that would enable you to better understand, as Dinesh so beautifully put it, you need to understand your industry, you need to understand the opportunities of digitisation. If government was to put in place a program, what would it be? Let me tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't just handing out money by way of a grant, which often could be what governments do. The feedback we received was, could you put in place a program whereby you actually, across Australia, follow the digitisation process of 100 businesses? So we can then follow that as well and see someone who is like-minded undergoing this process and reaping the benefits. And the Digital Champions project was born out. If anybody would like further information on Digital Champions, please let me know. The other tool that we have as a government, though, is the Australian Small Business Advisory Service. Has anybody utilised ASBAS? That's not good. You either don't need it, which I don't think is why we're here, or you don't know about it. ASBAS is actually the government body that assists you on your digital journey. So if anybody would like to know more about ASBAS, please also see me afterwards, because I'm from the government and allegedly people say we're here to help. In this regard, I promise you we actually are. But again, in terms of taking that next step, the statistics themselves, the research that have been done, the research that you're looking at tonight, it is very, very clear. Businesses that embrace technology, they take that next step, etc., you know, they're 50% more likely to increase their revenue. They're 7 times more likely to employ more people. The benefits go on and on and on. Thank you. Can I tell you, you are fabulous. 2 more minutes. Seriously, that was very subtle until I had to bring it up. At least I didn't get the whole, you know, like, it's all over. But I do love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Can I just say, though, because I know we'll go into a bit of Q&A, you do have a government that backs you every step of the way. I hope we're putting in place the right policy framework to enable you to prosper, grow and create more jobs. Just on the red tape reduction, I couldn't agree more, Sonia, in terms of holding people to account. I think there's nothing worse than someone standing up and making a big announcement and they're not being questioned as to how they're going to implement that announcement. In terms of red tape reduction, we have a red tape reduction task force. I sit on that task force. We are specifically looking at one area for micro businesses and sole traders in particular, and that is, what are the barriers to growing your business and taking on an additional person? There are 1.4 million sole traders in Australia. Can you honestly imagine if we could get rid of that red tape that is stopping them from employing that next person? Those 1.4 million jobs that we want to create, that'd be solved overnight. So please do hold your government to account in delivering on the commitments that we have made to you. Because you see, when you prosper and grow, you create more jobs for Australians. The government benefits and Australians benefit. So I really look forward now to going into a Q&A and having an open discussion as to what more we can do. Thank you so much, Dinesh.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and also leave a comment and tell us what more you would like to learn. Now, don't forget to click the subscribe button, because this is all about small business, digital strategy and innovation. I look forward to seeing you again.